obviously, Brock had a huge game this past Sunday. You guys expected a lot of him from the moment you drafted him, but was there a moment where you kind of knew that he had the goods and he was going to be an impact player right away?
Yeah, I think the first time I put on his college film, I mean, it kind of jumps off the screen. He's just a naturally gifted player. Probably the best tight end I've ever evaluated coming out of college. He just has some natural route craft, natural feel versus zone. He comes back to the quarterback at friendly angles, catches the ball with his hands with extension naturally. So everything he's done since he's been up here, we've had really high expectations for him, and he's certainly lived up to those.
It usually takes rookie tight ends a minute to get rolling. It's just kind of one of those positions where he's learning how to block or figuring out the NFL. But he's had, he's leading tight ends in pretty much everything right now. What do you think's allowed him to have such a quick impact at the next level?
Outside of just his natural physical gifts, he's a really smart player. He sees the game clearly. He's able to process information quickly. Like all rookies, there was a learning curve when he first got here in the offseason that the media and the fans might not have seen while we were going through OTAs and the offseason program. But the learning curve certainly wasn't as steep for him as it is for other rookies coming in my experience. So I just think his mental ability to be able to grasp the game as quickly and easily as he does just matches that natural physical talent he has, and then the results just speak for themselves.
I know every position, when you're transitioning from college to the NFL, there is going to be a learning curve.
Yeah.
And it just feels low for tight end. It's been a little bit more difficult in terms of getting involved and getting in that position now. Why do you think that is?
It's something we talk about to all of our tight ends, rookies, veterans, everybody. It's a unique position. Usually in the run game, you're going to be blocking someone bigger and stronger than you. And when you're running a route, you're going to get someone faster and more athletic than you. That's just the nature of the position, the nature of the game. So that's why we talk so much about our technique, the details of our assignment. Because if we're not perfect in those areas, the natural matchup usually favors the defense and what we're trying to do. So that's something we got to work on every day.
Can you talk a little bit about how defenses have changed how they're guarding you guys in terms of Brock over the last few weeks? Have you noticed a noticeable change, or is it all about the same thing?
Yeah, I think he's becoming more and more well-known with each week, that's for sure. I don't want to speak for our opponents, but defenses are certainly aware of him. It's different with the tight end, and it's a lot harder to cloud a guy to the side of the field like you might see for some premier receivers. We're able to move him around to different spots. Hopefully we're doing that enough offensively to keep defenses on their toes. But I think they're certainly aware of him, and I think that awareness is only going up and up.
I remember, I forget your exact quote, but back in training camp, you mentioned something about you earn your reps by blocking as a tight end. What are you saying from Brock, just from that standpoint?
Yeah, that's always our mindset. We don't want any prima donnas in our room, and I certainly don't have any. But that's the mindset. As a tight end, you got to have the mentality that you're a blocker first, right? And that might not always be the makeup of every player in that room, but that's the mindset I'm trying to instill and try to teach. That physical element of the game, that toughness that's required to go do your job on the line of scrimmage, and he's done that every time called upon. Obviously, he does so much for us in the pass game that we try to utilize that as much as possible, but we're not afraid to put him in a three-point stance and have him block a defensive end, and every time he's been called to do that, he's been really effective at that, and I think that's one thing that separates him. Maybe I'm slightly biased. I think that's one thing that separates him from a lot of other tight ends in this league who have a lot of success in the passing game. He excels as a blocker as well. There's really no limitations to his game.
Michael Mayer missed a lot of time, but it didn't feel like he missed a beat when he got on the field. He played him a lot. Were you a little surprised about how ready he was actually to go play a big role?
I don't know if surprised the word, but I was certainly impressed. When you're away for the amount of time that he was, to come back and be in the physical conditioning, the physical shape he was in, the conditioning, to play with the physicality and the toughness, it just speaks so much to him as a person and what kind of guy he is. I mean, Mike's one of my favorite players I've ever coached. He has a great attitude every day. He has a great mindset every day. And when he came back in, we plugged him in. He played as many reps as he did, like you mentioned, and to play at the level he did on Sunday, just speaks to the person probably more than the player.
What are the next steps for him to become, more of a focal point of this offense? And somebody that's not just in blocking, but is somebody that you guys are targeting?
Yeah, and I know in the first few weeks of the season, the ball didn't find him as much, and it didn't get to him as much in Miami. But it's a good problem to have in the tight end room. Not only Mike and and Brock, but we got Harrison and Justin and all the way down the line. We got a lot of good players, guys that are capable of making plays. And, I think over the course of the season that stuff starts to balance out. But even when the ball's not going his way, the role he plays for on offense is invaluable. The dirty work he does for us in protection in the run game has been so important for us to be able to sustain drives and to allow Brock to go out and run the routes and make the plays that he has.
I know, obviously, you guys always plan to get both Brock and Mike involved going back to the offseason, but some things have changed since then. Devontae not being here anymore. I think that got more opportunities for those guys to get involved in the pass game. What are you hoping to see from that duo now that they're back together and moving forward just from a receiving standpoint?
Yeah, sure. I mean, when Devontae left, everyone kind of went up a step on the food chain. Everyone kind of went up a level, and I'm not here to say who our number 1 or 2 guy is, but as the tight ends coach, I'm hoping that 1 or 2 of your guys are at the top of that list, and I think that's certainly the case for us. And I think the best thing that we have going with Brock and Mike is they're both versatile players. They're going to do anything we ask them to do, whether that's running routes, blocking guys, pass protection. So I think for us as a coaching staff, it's finding that balance, see how they can play off of each other when we are in there in 12 personnel, and they're both really talented, smart football players, and that's a lot of fun to play around with.